if you're looking at this video, if you're asking yourself these questions, that's work that's, really remarkable and a huge step in actually getting to this point ultimately of better understanding your relationship to mental health, to cannabis, to the world around you in general.
Ani bojo, nimkins indígena kas o kikendan donchaba benishan dondem anishnaba ninendao. My name is Connor Lafortune. I am from Dokis First Nation on the French River in northeastern Ontario, and I'm part of the Bird Clan. My spirit name, it means Little Thunder Spirit.
My name is Kira London Nadeau, and I am a PhD student at the University of Montreal, and my work centers around looking into the relationships between weed and mental health amongst queer and trans youth.
What do you think are some of the biggest questions that young people have when it comes to cannabis and mental health?
I think one of the biggest questions that I've noticed is am I going to be judged? My friends are drinking in this room. Can I leave and go smoke a joint? People are smoking cigarettes around me. Can I smoke a joint with them? I think there's really a space of will I be judged? Will I be ridiculed? How will my family react? And it's such a different culture that is built around alcohol and cannabis. They're so different that I think that is one thing that is questionable of am I going to be judged? Am I going to lose the opportunity to have a job? I know that a lot of jobs have drug testing and things like that, whereas they don't. You can drink Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but if you smoke a joint on Friday, then on Monday you can't work, So I think that is one thing that is really built upon that relationship with cannabis.
What does quote unquote acceptable use look like? And that's something that I see young people ask themselves a lot, Is it about only using in the evenings? Is it about only using for purposes outside of self-medication? And people have vastly different definitions for themselves of what they want their use to look like and where they're at in their use, and also measuring these questions up against a feeling of, am I just being critical because of the internalized stigma that I have towards cannabis use or towards mental health and towards how I should be addressing whatever's coming up for me?
We're just building communities of hiding. We're hiding our queerness, we're hiding the fact that we have mental health issues, and we're hiding the fact that we're using cannabis, or we're finding ways to help ourselves. And I think that can be very harmful because instead of creating those spaces that are safe and that are welcoming of all those intersections, you're just kind of creating another space where you're hiding a piece of yourself, even within those safe spaces. So you can have safe spaces for mental health, but they're not opening the conversation for psychosis and cannabis. They're not opening the question for race and gender and sexuality. And so even within those spaces that we've created to have really those beautiful spaces that can help our people, we're leaving other people at the door. And I think that can be really as harmful, because not only are you oh wow, I finally found a space that is conducive with one of my identities, but my other identity is ostracized at the same time.
Harm reduction means looking at the context of people's use, means looking at what are people getting out of their use, what are people looking to change about their use, if anything, and always obviously placing the person at the center of making decisions about their use, because that person knows best. And quite frankly, when young people feel supported by the adults around them, they're more likely to reach out if there is an issue.
I think it's really important to educate yourself, and not only on what you want to hear. You're not only supposed to look at what you want to learn, you're supposed to look at what counters what you believe. It's because you need to push what you know. If you're just looking up, harms, well, look, I can prove to you all the harms that the cannabis does. But if you're looking at, what are the beneficial things that can do? And also looking at the different intersections, how can Indigenous people use cannabis? How can queer people use cannabis? How can people of color use cannabis? And understanding the narratives that come from all different communities.
Ensuring that you're looking at the young person's cannabis use within its context. So not just the idea of use, yes or no, and if this young person is using, then that's bad, and if they're not using, then that's good. That's a dichotomy which first of all, is incorrect, but also will not serve that young person. There's so many other things that can impact a young person's experience with weed, who they're using with, do they have a safe ride home, what other supports could somebody also be needing, either instead of their cannabis use, but also possibly adjacent to it and in addition to it.
Not only educating, but having conversations with people, pushing that, like, hey, can you sit down with me for 5 minutes and talk about how you use cannabis? I would like to learn, instead of jumping down people's throat and assuming that it's in a bad way, assuming that that comes with all that stigma. I think it's really important to really take the time to understand how those individuals are really feeling in their cannabis use. People who are using cannabis, youth who are thinking about using cannabis, really need to understand also how that affects them personally. Keep a log of like how it does affect you, because if it's not affecting you in the right way, well, maybe the problem isn't the cannabis, maybe it's the type of cannabis, maybe it's the time you're using it, maybe it's the consumption and the amount of consumption. And so understanding that, like, just because there are so many good things, it doesn't mean that all of those good things will also happen to you. You know, so like, yes, don't focus on all the bad things, but understand that those good things might not happen if you're not putting the proper intentions into it.
So just to reiterate to anyone watching this that whatever you're experiencing right now, you really most likely are not alone in those experiences. Yeah, that sometimes it just takes a long time to figure out. But really most of the time people are able, with those discussions, with those self-reflections, which if you're watching this video, you already have some self-reflection that clearly is happening, yeah, that folks will generally get there with time.